Welcome back to another episode of Plant-Based Ads. I'm Joey Troxel. First, I'd like to do a shout out to our financial supporters. PayPal and Patreon are the people that make the show possible. I'm a teacher. Without that, I would not be able to do what I do. So thank you. If you thought about how can I help, how can I be part of what's happening here, how can I be part of the show, that's how you can help. You can become a financial supporter. There's a link below for PayPal and Patreon, and they get the videos up to 48 hours early, sometimes even earlier than that, and they get some stuff that I don't put on YouTube. Today I'm going to tell you about how I got to where I am, as far as weight and weight loss and all that. I went from 191 pounds at my heaviest, feeling inflamed and bloated and embarrassed with how I looked, to eventually losing over 40 pounds and feeling strong and ready to take on the world. That's how I feel now. And it didn't happen because I was lucky or because I was gifted with a fast metabolism. Quite the opposite. That's not me. It happened because I created a plan that I could stick to every single day. Day after day, month after month, I kept at it, and eventually, it led to a compounding effect of the composition of how my body is currently made up. So, I did not do this overnight. As you know, you've watched me, and it's taken years and years of trying everything. And finally, it all kind of clicked. I started doing these 10 daily habits that physically changed the composition of my body and got me to where I currently am, and it helped me lose 40 pounds. One of the big things I had to learn is that the gym is not going to help you lose weight. Everyone is at the gym. I go at like 5 or 6 o'clock. I know it's a nightmare, and the gym is full of guys. And I swear I've seen these same guys for years, and they're killing it. Like, they're working out hard, they're pushing it, they're with their buddies. Bro, let's go, right? And I don't see them getting in any better shape. Like, I've been watching them for years. They're trying to compensate for a bad diet by working out. That's just not going to work. Are they getting stronger? They are. They are definitely stronger. They're lifting more weight. But are they changing their body, composition as far as burning more fat? They're not. And that's because working out is only a very small percentage every day of the calories you burn. And we're going to talk about that in this video. It's a big misconception. And when you look at all the charts, you'll see what I mean. So I'm going to throw some charts on the screen as we go through this, maybe not right here, but as we're talking about. How does your body burn calories? Here's how it burns. The first thing is, most of your calorie burn, like 65 to 70% of it, comes from your BMR. What's your BMR? Well, your BMR is your basal metabolic rate. That's what you burn just being awake. Even if you actually don't have to be awake. Just doing the normal on autopilot things that your body does, right? Just like, respiratory stuff and excavation and all that stuff that you do every day. That the minimum it takes your body just to breathe and do its stuff, that's your BMR. That's the minimum that you need every day. The higher your BMR is, the more you burn calories at a faster rate. A lot of that BMR is based upon how much muscle you have on your body. So when you look at me and Tim, there's a big height difference between us. Tim's BMR is much higher than mine because he's bigger and he has much more places to store muscle than I do. Yes, I'm muscular. I'm probably, when you look at me and him, I'm definitely the muscular one. But he's got a lot more muscle than I do because he's bigger and he's got more places to put it. I don't have that. So my BMR is much lower than his. My BMR is about 1,200 calories. His is about 17. So his body burns 1,700 calories every day just to exist. And mine burns about 12. That's without anything else. After the BMR, you burn 10% of your calories every day through digesting food. So just the process of eating and digesting food burns calories because that takes work for your body. It costs your body to process and digest food. It's called the thermic effect of food, TEF. And you'll see that in the chart here. So that we'll talk about what all that is, but eating does burn calories. What about exercise, right? We're all doing our exercise. That's got to be a big number, right? Well, actually, it's not. Exercise is your exercise activity thermogenesis. What you burn from actual planned exercise. I'm going to the gym today. I'm going to do a yoga class. I'm going for a run. Those are planned, all right? Those are actual workouts. This doesn't include walking to the car or, working in their house doing dishes or any of that stuff. This is planned exercise. And that burns up 5% of your calories a day. Do you see what I'm saying? So you're at the gym killing it. Unless you're an athlete that's competing in the Olympics or something or in some competition, that is only 5% of your calories every day, right? Meanwhile, digestion is 10%. You lose more weight digesting calories than you will working out at the gym. That's a big problem because people don't realize that, and they're trying to work out a bad diet. They're trying to just go to the gym to undo a bad diet, and that's not going to work. Finally, there's NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. This is the activity you get that you're not planning on, right? You walk to the car. This is why we say park far away. Those steps, that's part of NEAT. Walking around your neighborhood at night before you go to bed because it's a beautiful evening, that's part of NEAT, right? Doing the laundry, putting clothes in the washer, folding them, that's part of NEAT. All of that stuff, that burns 15% of your calories every day. That's a big chunk of your calories when compared to the actual exercise. Any movement that's not part of a workout in the day is considered part of your NEAT. So, if you look at that, I could be home doing my laundry. Just simple stuff, yet I'm contributing more to my weight loss or fat loss than I am when I'm at the gym. That's pretty scary. So where do you start? How do you know what to do, when to do, where to do it? Well, you know what? I put together these 10 steps that I did to get me toward my eventual goal of 10% body fat. Step 1, get a smart scale. The scale is a big problem. I do weigh myself every day, and I have since 2018. So I have a long recorded history of how my weight did all of this, right? All the way since 2018. You don't need to do that, but get a smart scale. Here's why. The number on the scale, on a regular scale, just tells you how much you weigh. It doesn't tell you anything about how much of that is fat and how much of that is muscle. And that's very important because muscle, right, burns calories much faster than fat does. The more muscle you have, the higher your BMR is, the more calories you're burning just doing nothing, right? So Tim has way more places to hold muscle because he's taller. He's got that 1700 BMR. I don't. I'm a small guy. There's only so many places to put muscle. I'm at 1200. So he's burning more calories than I am. If we have a 1500 calorie diet, if we had some type of challenge and we both ate 1500 calories, I'm going to gain weight. He's going to lose weight because my BMR is so much lower than 15 and his is so much higher. It's scary. But the scale doesn't tell you how much fat, how much muscle you have, unless you get a smart scale. I personally use the Hume Body Pod. I absolutely love Hume. It gives me so much information. I'll throw some stuff on the screen, but it tells me I've got 17.1% body fat, but I've got 116.5 pounds of muscle. Yesterday or 2 days ago, I might have been a little bit less. In fact, I was like a pound and a half less, and I've worked out the last 2 days. I've been careful what I eat. Why did my weight go up? Right? That's a nightmare. Well, no, it's not. If I look at my numbers, my weight did go up, but my amount of muscle has gone up. And my body fat has gone down. So that extra weight, it's not fat. It's muscle, which is what you want. I try not to look at the weight on the scale because I'm not out to lose weight. I'm out to lose body fat, and that's really the key. So you need a smart scale. There's a link below this video where you can get your own Hume Body Pod. They always have sales, and with my discount link below, you get 15% off on top of that. So check that out. You'll want to do that. Get a smart scale, step 1. Without that, you have no idea what that number means on the scale. Step 2, you need to find out your total daily energy expenditure, or your TDEE. There's a link below the video to the TDEE calculator online, and here's how that works. The TDEE calculator, you'll put in your information. You'll put in your height, your weight, your age, whether you're sedentary all day, you just don't do anything, or to a light movement, you work in an office, but you go downstairs and you get to your car and blah, blah, blah. Or, maybe you're an active person, or maybe you work out and you run 3 times a week, said you have some physical activity. It takes all that in consideration, right? And then it throws this number at you. So I know my BMR is about 1200. But when I figure out my age, my weight, how much activity I do, my maintenance calories, right? My actual maintenance calories every day, if I keep my lifestyle the way I am, is about 1,800 calories. So even though my BMR is only about 1,200 calories, I'm active all day, I burn about 1,800 calories a day. So that's my TDEE, my total daily energy expenditure, is about 1,800 calories. Then, once I know that, I can start making a plan about calories. Knowing that, as long as I eat less than 1,800 calories a day, I'm not going to gain weight. If I eat more than 1,800 calories a day, my body's going to store that weight because it doesn't need it, because it only needs 1,800 calories a day to burn everything, right? So now it's got this extra stuff, so it'll just store it as fat. That's kind of the key to this whole thing. You need to know your total daily energy expenditure and put your information in. It'll tell you your maintenance calories, and then you'll have a tab for cutting or bulking. If you're wanting to lose weight, which is what I had to do, you're going to click cutting, and it'll minus 500 calories. My 1,800 calories, now I'm at 1,300 calories a day if I want to lose weight, and that'll be a 500 calorie deficit. If I'm trying to bulk, maybe you're not me. Maybe you're thin and you have trouble gaining muscle, gaining mass, right? You'd be doing the opposite. You click bulking, and it would add calories to your diet and say, all right, you're at 1,800 every day. You want to add muscle. We're going to increase you to 2,100, and here's how long it'll take to get the muscle. So your situation will be different than mine. But for mine, I was trying to cut the fat for the last 2 years, and that's what I had to do. Do that energy calculator and figure out what your maintenance calories are. That's everything. That's the foundation of everything you do. Okay. Here's where it all made sense to me 2.5 years ago, and this is what changed my life. I started tracking my calories. I use Chronometer. You could use MyFitnessPal, whatever, but I use Chronometer. And I just started scanning every single thing I put in my mouth. I'd scan, and it would add in Chronometer. And I know that my 1,800 calories a day, if I keep this active lifestyle that I have, I can't go over that. I wanted to lose weight, so I did a 500 calorie deficit every day. So I was doing 1,300 calories. The minute I get to 1,300 calories, I'm done eating. And sometimes in the beginning, that would be at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I'd be like, holy crap! So I had to start planning my meals throughout the day so that they worked out to be 1,300 calories by the end of the day. Otherwise, I'd have a bunch of food in the morning or whatever, and then I'd be starving the rest of the day. You have to track your calories. You have to track every single thing that goes into your mouth. All of it. A recipe you make, Oreo cookies, anything. Whatever you put in your mouth. A bite of something. You're cooking, you may take a bite of something. Tablespoon of that. You need to track everything. I don't know how to make this easier other than if you're making one of my recipes. Let's say you're making my protein bagels, right? All you have to do, if you're making my bagels, if you made my recipe, go to, and assuming we're friends on Chronometer, we have to be friends, type in Joey Troxel protein bagels, and up will come my bagel recipe, and you'll say, yeah, I had 1 serving of that, and it'll enter in Chronometer and put in all of the macros, what the protein was, what the carbs was all that stuff, which is really cool. So, but we have to be friends on Chronometer. So if you're on Chronometer, go to add me as a friend. If you're on the free version and you can't add me because you have to pay for the upgrade, don't do that. Just email me at plantbaseddads@gmail.com and say, hey, here's the email I'm using for Chronometer. Can you add me as a friend? I can add anyone as a friend because, I'm a pro member, and I'll add you from my end, and then we'll be friends, and you won't have to pay anything. Every single thing that goes in your mouth needs to be tracked. The goal here is that your number, mine was 1,300 for the weight loss, for the cutting, you cannot go over that number. Every day, you got to stick to that number. One of the tricks is you're going to have to plan on how you're going to get that food throughout the day. And if you make a mistake, you just have to make up for it the next day. All right, counting calories, tracking calories, everything in your mouth, and all of the exercise you do. When I go to the gym, I start my Apple Watch, right? I get on the treadmill, whatever, I stop my Apple Watch when I'm done. And it'll say, hey, you burned 600 calories. Now, I don't eat those calories. I just know in my mind, not only do I have my 500 calorie deficit, I already burned 600 calories also. So, I'm going to be in a good place. So you got to track all of your calories in and out. Chronometer and MyFitnessPal, they'll tell you what you burn on an average. It'll say, for me, it'll say 1,800 calories is my calorie expenditure for that day, even though the day hasn't finished. But I know I can't take in more than 1,300 calories that day, and then I'll have a 500 calorie deficit. You got to track everything. Without tracking, you are flying blind. All right, so step 4, understand the pie chart with the NEAT, the EAT, the BMR. Make sure you understand that. Make sure you're not wasting time doing something that's not going to count as much. So, have a step goal, right? Steps, that non-exercise activity thermogenesis, steps are worth way more than working out at the gym. So I see people in my neighborhood all the time. I see the neighbor right next door. She's running around because she's overweight. She's been doing this for 2 years. Every time I see her, she ain't any skinnier. I just want to say, sweetie, listen, you don't need to run. Just get out there and walk with the purpose, right? You can walk and get this and accomplish the same thing. Running is an activity that's an exercise and not only counts for 5% of your burn every day, whereas the NEAT counts for much more. So get out there and walk with a purpose and save that energy for the gym, right? She's also not following a calorie restriction, I can tell you that. But, I would love to knock on the door and go, hey, here's what you need to do. But I obviously I'm not going to do that. If she asks me, I'll be happy to tell her. So if you're listening, come knock on my door. Here's one of the things that I used to do when we lived in our old house. It was a one-level house. I would fold the clothes, and I would take the pair of socks in the laundry basket and the laundry basket and fold the socks and, make a little ball out of them. And then I folded the clothes in the farthest end of the house where the TV was. And the bedrooms were at the other end. And I would take the one pair of socks, all the way down to the bedroom, put it in the drawer, come back and fold the next pair of socks. And I would go all the way down to the bedroom, put them away. And this is what I did back and forth. And I swear, it took me an hour, but I would get 7,000 steps doing the laundry, right? And like when you're home and I was a stay-at-home dad back then and all that. I mean, that's what I did. I did every bit I could to help my body get that extra NEAT time. All right. Non-exercise activity thermogenesis. That's a big deal. Know that before you're worrying about running on the treadmill at the gym. Get some movement every day. I can't stress that enough. All right. Step number 5, resistance training. That made a big difference for me. I mean, I am like working out 4 days a week now, and it has helped a lot. Here's what resistance training does. Resistance training helps you build muscle, and that BMR number, that's 60% of your daily burn, comes from how much muscle your body has, like I was saying earlier. The more muscle you have, the faster you're burning calories just doing nothing, right? I'm never going to build the muscle that Tim has, right? But I'm still going to build more muscle to increase my BMR. My BMR has gone up to about 1450. So over the last 2.5 years since I've been tracking it, it's gone up, which is really nice. That's just extra help for me. The key to this is it's a lot harder to build muscle than it is to burn fat. While I burned off about 40 pounds of fat in my body, I've only added about 7 or 8 pounds of muscle. It's so much harder to add muscle. But resistance training will absolutely increase your BMR eventually. It'll make you feel good. It'll make you look more toned. It's really going to give you a better outlook, and it's going to make you feel, like things are changing. I loved every bit of it, resistance training, and I still do. The gym is my safe place. It's my happy place. When I'm there, I never leave the gym and go, oh man, like I'm so sorry I did that workout, right? I usually go to the gym happy to be there. It's rare that I'll be like, I don't want to go to the gym today. I mean, that just doesn't happen. But, if it does happen after the workout, I'm still like, oh man, I'm glad I got that done. Like now everything, it's behind me. I can do anything else I want today. So, there's a lot of benefits to resistance training, but it definitely makes your joints and muscles stronger, and it prepares you for, a very long and healthy life. Step number 6, drink lots of water. When your stomach's about the size of your fist, right? Think about that. And then you went and had 2 hamburgers or something and fries and a Coke and all that. Your stomach's this big. Like it's not that big. And you're stuffing it with stuff. That's why you're like, oh man, I'm sweating. I feel bloated and all that. Drink lots of water. Whether you fill up your stomach with water or whether you fill it up with food, when it gets to be full, it signals the brain and goes, hey, listen, I've had enough for now. We're not hungry anymore. And that takes like 20 minutes, of course. But, that's something that happens. So by filling it up with water when you're snacky or whatever, that sends the same signal that you're full. Of course, it doesn't last as long, so you want to, continue to have water, but you should always have water within reach of somewhere, right? Have it with you at the gym, have it with you at work. I've always got a water bottle with me, and I've been drinking a lot of water. I want to make sure that I'm just flushing everything out, and I'm constantly hydrated, right? So, water satisfies cravings, it does so much for you. I'm good with just drinking filtered water out of the fridge, but some people aren't. If you need to add something to it, then go ahead and add it. Just make sure it's not adding calories. It can't be sugar-based, all right? If you need to add a flavor or whatever, then do that. Whatever it takes, to drink more water. But water is the key to not overeating. All right, so step 7. You might say to yourself, what do I eat then? How do I know what to eat? Well, here's what you have to eat. You really need to make your own food. I have been saying 10 years on YouTube to make your own food on Sunday nights. You've seen my meal prep videos. We all have food made on Sunday night for us for the week. It doesn't always last past Thursday. That's about as far as it goes. Fridays, we just kind of hang out in the house and don't do much. And Saturday, we go out to dinner every week. And it's the only day we go out to dinner. But I make bagels for the week, so we have protein bagels. I make, cheese sauce for the week out of cashews, so we have that for pretzels or potatoes or whatever. I'm a vegan, so every day I have to pack my lunch. Forget about calories and all that. I got to pack my own lunch because if I don't, there's nothing to eat. My school doesn't serve I don't even know what they serve. I've never been to the cafeteria, but they don't have anything vegan, right? They just don't. So even if I go on a field trip and they're supplying lunch, I take my Herman Munster lunchbox with me because I don't know what to expect, right? Half the time it's pizza for everyone from Costco. And I'm like, okay, that leaves me out. So I always bring my food with me to work, to field trips, to whatever. I've got snacks in the car if I need it, if it's going to be a long field trip. If it's going to be I don't know, an hour in the car if we're going to stores, I do have some snacks with me. So, you have to plan your food. If you don't, then you're just going to be eating junk. Most of the time, if you're preparing food at home, you're looking at the calorie count, you're looking at the nutrition information. It's going to be much better than something you have to scan and buy at work. If at all possible, stay away from processed food. There's just nothing good about that. It adds so many other problems, and it's loaded with salts and all sorts of stuff that it's just going to hinder you in the end. If you're meal prepping at home, make sure you're cooking stuff your body needs and try and get in as much high protein food as you can. And that brings us to step 8. Protein, protein, protein. And I'm going to tell you why. There's a few reasons. First of all, protein protects your muscles. When you're losing weight, your body will grab it either from muscle or from fat. It really doesn't care, right? It'll go either way. Having enough protein protects your muscles so your body takes the fat, because that will be the easy choice. You've seen me say, hey, I eat 120 grams of protein a day. I eat 100 grams of protein a day, whatever. That's to make sure that during my weight loss phase for the last 2.5 years, I didn't lose muscle, because you don't want to lose muscle. If your body's burning muscle, you still got the fat, which is a problem. So over the last 2.5 years, I've stayed at about 100 to 120, 140 sometimes grams of protein a day. Everything I make, I look at the calories and the protein, and I make sure I'm getting enough protein for those calories. I've got lots of videos on this, so I'm not really going to go into it here. Protein protects your muscles during a weight loss phase, so you don't lose muscle, you lose fat. If you have a weight gain phase, if you're trying to gain weight, then you want protein also, because protein will add muscle and not fat when you're gaining weight. Because nobody wants to gain fat, they want to gain muscle, right? That's something that happens by having a lot of protein. And there's the thermic effect of food. You burn calories digesting food. So for instance, let's talk about fat. Fat costs your body somewhere between 2 and 5% of the calories to digest those foods. Let's say you had 100 calories of bacon or coconut oil, something pure fat, avocado, right? You have 100 calories of that. Since it's a fat, it's 2 to 5%. Let's go high, 5%. You're going to wind up having 95 calories from that, and the other 5 calories will have been burned off just trying to digest that food. That's how your body works. All right, now you've got carbohydrates. Brown rice. You took 100 calories of brown rice in, right? Well, brown rice, costs the body 10% of those calories to digest that food. So, you have 100 calories of rice. In the end, you wind up with 90 calories from that because it costs 10 calories to digest that food. Proteins, it costs the body 30% of the calories that you just ate in proteins to burn off protein. So let's say you had a protein shake that was 100 calories. I mean, it wouldn't be 100 calories, it would be more than that, but let's just stick with 100 calories. You had a protein shake, it was 100 calories. You had something full of protein for 100 calories, right? 30 calories from that was used just to digest the protein. So now your net calories from that is 70. Do you see how that works? So protein's important because if you're going to overeat, if you're going to have something later on, even though you're done with your calories, eat some protein because a lot of that will be burned off just digesting the food. All right. So protein has lots of other benefits besides what we talked about. It makes your muscles stronger as you get older. We don't digest protein. We don't absorb protein the way we do when we're younger as we're older. So you need more of it. There's a lot to it. But protein, start getting used to that. I have so many videos on how to make high protein, low calorie meals on this website. Check them out if you're not sure what to make. All right. Step number 9, plan your fails. And if you followed me for any amount of time, you know I've said this many times. All right, so you've had your 3 meals for the day. It's 8 o'clock at night. You want to have something snacky, but you don't want to eat a whole meal. And now you're afraid you're just going to start wolfing on ice cream or whatever. Plan it. Plan to have stuff in the refrigerator that you shouldn't eat. My thing is puddings and jellos. I shouldn't say jellos because Jello is a brand, but that's what I always call it. I have the Smart Simply Dessert to Simply Delish. I think it's Simply Desserts now, the vegan version of the gelatins, which is not gelatin because gelatin is made from animals. But I don't know. I don't feel right calling it a gel, right? Anyway, you know what I mean. So I've got a bunch of Jello gels, non-Jello versions of Simply Delish ready to go, and they're a mason jar, and they're 5 calories, right? And that fills me up. I'm like, okay, good. I have 5 calories. Like, I'm good, right? Or I've got these protein puddings. Simply Delish makes a vegan pudding mix. And you mix it with milk. I use the almond milk, and I throw in my my protein powder from whatever company I'm using. Right now it's Chimp. And for 112 calories or 120 calories, I get 12 grams of protein added. So at least if I'm going to have something later on or even during the day, a snack type of thing, where I've fallen, I haven't really failed, right? I planned that. I have some things around that I could snack on if I need them. I don't really want to, but if I need them, it's not a failure, right? Plan your fails. Otherwise, you could have, like, let's say you have Oreos, right? I think one Oreo is, I don't know, like 70 calories or 60 calories or something. So, you have a 3-pack of Oreos. That's 180 calories. Just to give you an example of what it would take to burn that off, I do 2 miles around my neighborhood. I usually do 4 miles every day, but I do 2 in the morning and 2 in the evening. 2 miles at my neighborhood burns off 170 calories. I would have to walk 2 miles to burn off most of those 3 Oreos, and I wouldn't even get it all. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, you have to be very careful. What I could do is instead have the pudding, right? That would have burned off doing that, or it would have been so much protein it wouldn't have even mattered. It would have probably, most of it would have been burned off anyway. I could have had the Jello that was 5, or the vegan version of the Jello that was 5 calories, right? And that would have been like, I could have burned that up walking up the stairs. Plan the fails so you're not eating junk like Oreos or like chips or like any of that stuff. That's what I do. I always make sure I have a plan for failing. And then the very last step that I had to learn is patience. I'm 2.5 years into meeting someone, a trainer, who changed my life and turned me around. And from that moment on, everything in my life changed because I accepted it. I went in there and said, tell me, just what am I doing wrong? Can you help me? And he did. It did not happen overnight. It wasn't something I saw on YouTube. I needed to speak with a professional, and they helped me get it right. Now, was it an easy path? Oh my gosh, no, right? It has its ups and downs. Like I was just saying about the scale being up when it should be down. If I step on the scale, okay, so it's Sunday right now when I'm filming this, right? And it's, I don't know, 6 o'clock, 6:30. On the weekends, I weigh myself at like noon because I don't eat or get up until around noon, and then I weigh myself. Well, tomorrow it's Monday. I got to go back to work at school. I got to be up at 6:20 in the morning. So I'm going to weigh myself 6:20 in the morning tomorrow. My weight's not going to be, even if I was right on the money here today, my weight's not going to be down tomorrow because I would have to weigh myself again at 11 something or noon to get the same effect. Also, if I didn't poop right before I went to work, or if I ate late in that, it doesn't always work that way. So the number on the scale does not always reflect, even with the smart scale, it doesn't always reflect the number that is actually true to you. You kind of have to, like, by the time Tuesday or Wednesday come along, every day at 6:20 I'm weighing myself, I'm back on track, right? It all makes sense. But jumping from weighing myself Sunday to Monday morning at a much earlier time, every week is a big, like, holy crap, I gained 2 pounds. And by Wednesday, it's gone. I'm back to where I was because I never really had 2 more pounds. My body hadn't digested food. I hadn't gone to the restroom. It was a different time of day. Like, a lot of stuff worked into that. So you may be also, if you're eating more carbohydrates, let's say you had saved your carbohydrates for the end of the day, carbohydrates hold a lot more water than any other food. And that's not a bad thing. But, depending on when you had those, you may have not peed it out yet or something. So depending on the time of day and all that, the number may not be really what it says. What you're looking for is, I would weigh myself every day and then average all the weight by 7, right? Add them up, divide it by 7, and average, what was my average low weight this week? And that number should be down. And also, every week, I'm seeing something, a new low somewhere, right? This week, I saw a new low body fat, 17.1. I've never seen that before. If tomorrow it's 17.5, and if the next day it's 17.8, and then it starts coming down, at least I know, right, that I'm still seeing low numbers, new lows. So, that's a driving force for me also. Every day won't be perfect, but progress over perfection. All right, these are the things that I did. I know I've said these many times. I've had quite a few videos like this, but I kind of see the same things from influence all the time. Copy me. Here's what I did. Lose 20 pounds by summer. Copy me. Don't copy anyone. Go speak with a professional and find out, if you can't do these things that I said, go speak with a professional, because I couldn't do them originally. Now I can. I understand it perfectly, right? Calories, remember, it's all math. That's what changed my life. When he broke it down for me and said, here's numbers, here's your numbers, here's what you can eat, and I was looking at all this going, oh, it's math. Like, if I eat more than this, I'm gaining weight. He was like, yes. And I said, I thought as long as it was whole food plant-based, I can just eat whatever I want. And he's like, no, you can eat whatever you want, but you're going to gain weight. He's like, you're too short and small to do that. Those people have a higher metabolism. And I was like, oh, so I just have to eat below these numbers. And he was like, exactly. And I'm a teacher. I absolutely understand math. So I was like, okay, I get it. And that was the changing point for me. All right, that's our video for today. Hit that like button, show us some love. Click on the subscribe button, click on that bell. You get notified every time we have a new video, usually every Tuesday. Leave a comment below. Do you get it? Like, are you like, okay, I can do these things? Or are you like, I need to hire someone? And that's okay also. That's what personal trainers do. I hired one for a year, and it was money well spent. It wasn't cheap, but it was money well spent. All right, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.